Hey everyone, in today's video we're going to be talking about how to create some amazing builds with World Edit itself. Now, people on my server who have come on immediately say, these builds are really cool, how did you do this? Things like that. And I get a lot of those questions. And so, one of the biggest new builds that we've been working on, myself and Jake, um, is we wanted to take and make a Kraken that would be, coming out of this water and grabbing onto a ship, breaking it apart, and there we go. So we ended up using World Edit to create some tentacles, and just made a little fake water and stuff like that. Threw them together, smoothened it out like this. Added in some foam and fuzzing. Built a ship real quick, split it in half, put it over here into the tentacles. Along with a broken sail that's all torn up and trashed. You can see the remnants. There's the back of the ship over here, which we had in the water originally there. We have the front of the ship over here. We have some sails over there. All a bunch of little test designs. And then I didn't even know this. At first, I thought we were just going to have the tentacles out of the water, but then Jake surprised me after I got on later, and he was doing some little um, finalizing on the skull, which would have been underwater, and grabbing onto it. So I can show you guys the finalized product by just going to spawn and just showing you guys, what you can really accomplish with World Edit itself. Now, let me just speed this process up. So, like I said, there's a lot of stuff you can do with it, but this is just super tiny amount. Jake did this all with water and spheres by all using World Edit, and then we had another guy come in and do the mouth, and it all just kind of fit together, and it was really cool when it was underwater. But we are going to be adding some more new islands in, so we wanted to move it out a little bit further because there is also a port coming in over in this area that you guys can sort of see it's loading in. Yeah, so I'm going to be going over how you can create yourself a giant Kraken in this video. So I'm going to go back to um, our kind of like our building area, which is our entire world literally just devoted to just throwing down projects and different things, which you guys can see some stuff coming along in the background, and you can see maybe some possible in the future stuff. So I'm just going to start off by we're going to drain this. We'll just drain it 50. And then we'll also fill with, let's just do glass to make it easy. Oh, what the heck? Oh, that's weird. Alright, I don't know why that looks like. I think it's the shader pack that's doing that. That was just really weird. I've never seen it do that before. Um, okay, so we're gonna fill with some blue wool instead, I guess. Because I've never seen it do that. That was just really weird. Alright, there we go. Oh, getting a little bit of lag. So you start off, of course, you need to take, usually I use coal as my main World Edit tool. You can use a stick, it's with that as long as it's not an item that you can kind of wield. Sometimes it works with certain blocks, but don't be over here clicking on it with like an apple or some kind of food, because you'll be trying to eat it while placing, things like that. Yeah, there you go. So pretty much you start off, you want to find your block, of course, and you can look up a list of ID numbers, or I can't remember the exact, I think it's an Alt H or something like that, or Alt GH combination. You can take and get your item IDs in the game itself. So we're going to take and get ourselves the blue terracotta, which is going to be 159:11, not a slash, and we're going to take and start doing these tentacle designs. So you're going to want to type brush sphere, and then your 159:11 to take that's your block, and then the sphere. And then of course the size we want to do some kind of small, not too big because it's a tentacle, it's not some monstrous giant pole. or anything like that. So we're just gonna do one. Oh, I almost did 12. We're just gonna do one, and then there we go. We're set. Okay. So now we can take and start in with our pasting. So as soon as you, okay, there you go. So now we have this ready, and that's the reason why it took a little bit longer is because it also wanted to place underneath because I didn't fill it in. See, it just takes a little bit longer. But you keep placing it, it'll keep going. Now you don't need to type mask error because sometimes I have previous stuff that's going on in the background. And so pretty much you're gonna think about, okay, I want, a tentacle over here, I want a tentacle over there, 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 there. You just want to start mapping out kind of in your mind where you want to have those tentacles. And so from there on, you're just going to start kind of in your mind sculpting out while clicking. Now, that's not exactly something that I can teach you guys in a tutorial. That's something that you guys have to form on your own, which is a little bit harder, but trust me, it'll be worth it eventually. But you're going to want to just kind of start creating these designs where it looks like a curved up hook shape coming down. Now, this one didn't turn out too well, but like you can make them as tall as you want and as curvy. I ended up on the other one actually doing a couple of them that were spiral. I believe one of these back ones over here, as you can see, yeah, it goes up, it curves around, and then it drops back down later on. Now, this was actually going to be the original design for the Kraken itself, but Jake came through and wanted to smoothen it out, and at first I thought it looked pretty shabby because honestly the tentacles looked really really skinny. But then after looking at it a little bit more, it really made sense to have a better design with those skinnier ones, and it just, in all out honesty, turned out much better with the skinnier tentacles. But they do cause a little bit more work, but I'll show you that once we get to that portion in the video. So you're just going to keep going through as many tentacles as you want. We're just going to have over here, we're going to have 6 of them just because, we don't want to be here forever. Now you can see in the chat, I am getting spammed right now, but that's just because the world edit that I'm using, and that's that. I can turn that off if I really wanted to, but I like to know exactly what I'm placing, and if I'm placing too much or too little. So this one I'm actually just going to have straight by itself. So sorry about that, my phone's in the background. But so now this doesn't look like much right here. It really doesn't. It looks like some blobs and stuff like that. But now we go through and we're gonna smoothen. So to smoothen your object, you can simply hook up a smoothing aspect with whatever you're using just to create the tentacles themselves. Or something that's a little bit faster and easier is you just select your 2 points by using your wooden axe. You get that by doing / wand, and then it gives you your wooden axe. Now you select your first point by clicking, well, it even says it in the chat right there. Left click to select position 1, right click to select position 2. Now once you have those selected, so I don't want to do, like, if you really want to select one up there, you can do /up1 and create a block for you. But I personally just like to do /pos2 in the air, and it will just do it for me. Now, if I smoothen it a little bit, you can see immediately that the tentacles are completely shrunken. So look at that. You can immediately see you have to be really, really temperamental. Or not really, you don't have to be, but the system itself can be very temperamental. So you have to watch out how much you do. As you saw, doing a normal smoothing, it didn't do much. But then doing a smoothing of 10, it almost made it non-existent where the build was completely gone. So we're going to try a smoothing of 2, and that's still a lot. So we're actually just going to stick with the smooth, which doesn't drop it too much, but we do need to do a little bit of editing once we go in here. So once you yourself have done the smoothing aspect, you have to go back through, of course, by hand. Now, I don't know, I can't see your build right now, but you go through and you're going to want to just take and start chopping out some blocks that kind of make it a little bit too lumpy and just cancel out those blocks because you don't want your squid to look like, or Kraken to look like something that's out of a cereal box. You want it to look like something that's swim directly off, you know like the ocean, or out of the ocean. And so, like this one I just started right here, it's still got this weird boxed edge at the top, which I'm not a very big fan of. And so I'm going to take and just curve it down a little bit more. And that's still not exactly what I'm going for. So now I'll add a little bit more on the top. So that's a little bit better, not really that good, but it's still there. Now the rest of these, there's still a little bit more trimming to do inside of this one. So let's see, we can trim that. Now some people take and they add in to these builds and such, they add in tentacle suckers, I guess you could describe them as. And that's simply just the actual portion of the tentacle that you would see on a normal squid, or I think a mollusk. No, not a mollusk. Um, I can't think of the term that a squid is. The like a squid is a crustacean. No, not a crustacean because that's like lobsters with shells. You know, I honestly this is in science class. So I couldn't tell you what a lobster. No, yeah, what a squid is or anything like that. But they have the little suckers, and some people think it looks better if you add those in for a little bit more detailing. But in this case, I'm actually going to leave those out, and I also left them out on the original build that you see over in those two locations because when I added it onto those ones, it really just didn't give it the vibe that it needed or that I kind of wanted to show when that was done being built. Now, this build isn't going to look perfect because honestly, this is a tutorial and I'm not going to be using this anytime soon because I already have one pre-built and ready that I think looks really, really nice. I won't be showing you guys the underhead portion because um, it's just way too complicated to show you guys, and you guys can be on your own for that. Honestly, the tentacles above the water is something that's just enough for that situation. But let's finish up here with the just cleaning up and chopping out some of these areas so that we can get to the bigger and better stuff, which is just um, putting some foam around the edges, placing your water back in, and such. By the way, big tip to you guys: if you're working with World Edit or Voxel Sniper is another plugin which is very, very helpful with terraforming, and it's kind of like a more terraforming sided version of World Edit. If you guys are using any of those, try not to have water or plants of any sort like grass, flowers, roses, and such, because that will just immediately tear up your build. So if you guys were wondering and you have been using those before and it just really keeps crapping itself, I guess you could say is the term, then check if you have any of those issues where you have one of those blocks near it. All right, so we're gonna keep this right here. This doesn't look too bad. Um, and we're just gonna keep like this. So now the next thing you can do is you're gonna go through and to add in the the foam and such, I simply took and used a different block. I said, okay, I want to have yellow, green, and magenta, for instance. Okay, and we can get rid of these two. So we're gonna you just start by placing some yellow around in a randomized fashion around each and every one of these tentacles. Now this right here will be the foam start. Okay, so I'll go over here to the actual foam and I will show you guys. You can see, actually, I'll walk over or fly over, I should say. You can see that it's a combination of cobwebs, light blue glass. On the lower half, there's cyan glass. There's little panes of the white glass and standardized white glass along with white wool. So there's a mixture of a ton of different stuff to form this foam, but from far away, it gives it the aspect that everything is kind of erupting out of the water and causing this new notion of something that you're going to want to get closer and you're going to want to see it. Now, a little side note on the server itself is that this Kraken will be hidden away in the ocean somewhere, and this is for my players who play on the server that this will have some custom loot hidden inside or near it, um, that will allow you guys to have some custom stuff in the game and just have a little bit of an advantage above some people in there. You know what I mean? I'm winking, but you guys can't see that. So we're just gonna keep this process going where we just keep wrapping it. And it's nothing big, it's nothing super shiny or super cool right now. It's a slow process, but once you're all done, like I keep saying, it's going to look bad to the bone. It's going to look amazingly cool, and it'll turn out just just great and all that total. And you guys can use this on your own servers or in your own worlds, whatever it may be, and just have some fun. Show it to your friends and be like, check this out, guys. I built this, you know. But we're gonna go through the process of finishing this up. All right, so we have four of them done right here. So we have two left, but as you guys can see, it just looks like little yellow blobs right now coming out of the tentacles. And these don't even look like full out tentacles right now, honestly. But just wait up a little bit. Oh, that's a eyesore right there. Like I said, this isn't going to be some super perfect build, but it's going to definitely represent something that you guys can look at and you guys can watch to see what I've done to take and create a Kraken of my own to have on my own server. And if you guys ever want to take and log on and simply look around and find the Kraken, like I said, it's going to be hidden in a location, so I can't just teleport you to it. But if you want to get on and try and find it just to see it in person in reference, I will gladly, if you tell me, hey, yo, Andrew, hey, Pig, I am at the Kraken. I was wondering if you could give me a night vision potion, and so I can swim down and see the skull underwater, see the mouth and such. I can toss a water breathing potion, a night vision potion, and help you guys out. And I would gladly do that, so you guys can see it in person and in game. Or, yeah, just in game, I guess in that case. But so you're just gonna keep following this process until you get done with all your tentacles. Now the next process is something similar, but it's not gonna take as long whatsoever. So we'll just have it like this just for speedy purposes. So now all the tentacles are done. So now you may as well just get rid of the yellow wool in your inventory. Next up, you're going to grab your green or lime green wool, and you're going to just kind of scatter it about. This is just the quickest way. You don't need to do something fancy. You don't need to do something fast. Try not to have it above the yellow wool, or else it's going to make it look just not so pretty. It's okay if there's some of them that are freestanding as well, because some of these blocks you're going to want them to be freestanding at this point. And this right here, we're going to take, and we'll have that there. We're going to have each of these blocks represent a different source of something. So pretty much right now, the way I'm looking at it is that the green represents my white wool, the yellow represents my light blue and cyan window panes or glass, and then I'm going to have the magenta, which is going to come through as my fine tuning and topping, which is going to be the white glass window panes. So now that we have those two set, boom, get rid of your lime green wool. You don't need that anymore. And now onto the final touch. You just want to add a couple of these, nothing too many, and try and stay off the bottom level because panes and glass just does not look good, especially if you're in the water. If you're in the water, it's not going to look shiny, it's not going to look good, it's going to look just all out terrible, and you will not like it. So we can go through this process, follow through, and we will take and then use World It again to change more. So let's pop that out of our inventory. We don't need that anymore. And now we can take and select our two regions again. So like I said, you're going to go to your first position. Make sure you get all of it in there. Select it using your left click. Select that. And then you want to go to the height and you want to select your height. Make sure, like I said, get everything in there as much as possible. If you don't get it in there, it's not going to be represented in your world edit and it will not be caught. So now that we have this here, we can go through. Let's go through our inventory right now, and we're going to find the blocks that we want it to become. So we want the cyan stained glass. We want the light blue stained glass. We're going to want the white wool, and last but not least, we are going to want the white stained glass pane. So with these, now we have 95 colon 9, 95 colon 3, 35 colon 0, and 160 colon 0. So we're going to go through, now we're going to replace. So we have those 2 points selected, and anything on those points that represent the blocks will be replaced now. So we're going to replace the lime wool. So we can type in wool colon lime, or type in the number that I just read off, the um, I think 35 colon 7 is lime wool. I may be wrong, but you go through, this is just a quicker way, wool lime, and you want to replace it to your white wool. So that's your 35 colon 0, or you can just type in wool colon white. Okay, it looks like we do have to type it in. 35 colon 5. There we go. So now that goes through, it changes all of our white wool to, or all of our lime wool to the white wool. Now we're going to go through, we're going to change our yellow wool, which is 35 colon 4, to our stained glass. And you can type in more than one block in the chat to swap over and such, just by using a comma. So you have, like I said, the 95 colon 9 and the 95 colon 3 previously. So you're going to type in the similar command, replace the um, so 35 colon 4 for your 95. I can't remember. 95 3, 95 9. And I'm going to hold it here for a second so you guys can look at what I'm doing. Like I said, you have your comma in between and it'll be able to replace it easily. So now once I do that, you can see, again, it swaps out these blocks. And you can even see, I'll get rid of both these. You have cyan and light blue. It's not just one or the other, it's both of them, and it's mixtured itself. So now we're going to take and replace our last one, which is going to be the magenta, and that's going to be 35 colon 2 for our 160. So now you fly down, you look at it, there's all these little tiny spikes, and those are your glass panes. So now that you have that, we can go through and we can reset up the water. Alright, so we're just going to do that real quick, so then it just swaps it out. So now you can see over here, we have our main wool, and I did a lot more detailing on this one, making it go in the water more and such, but you guys, you just keep following the same design and you can do that too. Now to do your final touching up, I like to add cobweb to add a little bit more of a steam looking flare or some kind of fizzing. Now you want to do that by hand because water destroys cobwebs. So you of course don't want to place all of your stuff and have a lot of hard work done, and next thing you know, you type to put back in your water, and then it's all gone and it's ruined, and you have to start over from the beginning or undo it, and it's just going to be a pain. So to save you your time and troubles, I'd place it last, and that's all you have to worry about. So you kind of just randomize. Like I said, I can't exactly help you with these kind of portions. If you literally want to get on the server and see, like I keep saying, go ahead, do that, check it out, be my guest, completely fine. But you're going to take and randomize and just place it along these edges until all of them have it. Once all of them do, you can take a step back and you have your giant tentacles forming coming out of the water, and you place a ship in if you want to, up to you guys, and you have a little bit of fun. So this is the end of the little tutorial slash let's build a Kraken. I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure you leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already, and turn those post notifications on. I will see you guys in the next video.